Hello again, FA Nation. Justin Fensterman back with you with another episode of Fantasy Football ADP TV here on FantasyAlarm.com. Let's go over some players. Let's go over average draft position. Let's go over whether or not we should be targeting these players in our fantasy football drafts. Let's get right down to the action. First, for a few players trending up, let's start with one of my favorite fantasy receivers going into this year, Terry McClaurin. McClaurin is the Commanders' top receiver. Even though Carson Wentz completed just 63% of his passes last season in Indy, McClaurin has been able to succeed with subpar quarterbacks in the past. Not saying Wentz is subpar, but leaving our expectations a little bit on the lower side for that, McClaurin has still been able to fight through it. And he's been given 130 or more targets in both of his last two seasons. And he exceeded 1,000 yards receiving in both. McClaurin is looked at as more of a safety pick in the fourth round because he gets the targets, but he doesn't really get in the end zone. And we're hoping to see him more in the box this year. He had 5 scores last season. Another receiver I'm interested in later on in drafts, Nico Collins. Not much receiving depth in Houston is the reason why. Rookie John Mechie will most likely miss the entire season due to health issues. Davis Mills didn't throw a lot of passes last season, but did miss a few games. He did complete nearly 67% of the passes he threw, though. Brandon Cooks will draw top coverage as the number 1 wide receiver, and Collins is a big 6'4 receiver that will be hard to match up against. He's currently being drafted in the 12th round, and it holds a lot of value in PPR leagues, where we're chasing targets, and because of the depth issues Houston has, it makes Collins a good flyer to invest in, and now that he's onto year 2 of his career, more experience going in, he should be able to find himself open, better route running, more targets, and the reports out of the Houston Texans camp have been very positive. Running back on the rise, Rhamondre Stevenson. He continues to move up draft boards, and he can be drafted in the 7th round of 12-team leagues as of late. The Patriots still have Damian Harris, though, who ran in double-digit scores last season. We can't forget about that. Stevenson runs behind a strong offensive line, and with Ty Montgomery's sideline, he can actually find himself more active in the Patriots' passing game. Both Stevenson and Harris averaged 4.6 yards per carry in 2021, and the Patriots should still favor their run game, even if Mac Jones throws a bit more. Now for some players trending down. Let's start with rookie running back Breece Hall. Hall has been dropping off of draft boards. Earlier in the month, he was solidly getting drafted in the 4th round of 12-team leagues, and now at the end of the month, we're seeing him get drafted in the 5th and even 6th rounds. In fact, I got him in the 6th round of our Fantasy Alarm Staff Fantasy Football Mock Draft 2.0, which you can find on FantasyAlarm.com. Reports indicate that Michael Carter is still the prioritized back, but those are just reports. The Jets spent a 2nd rounder on Hall, and the workload could shift in Hall's favor early in the season if he shines. Another player trending down, at least to me, Hunter Renfrow. I'm not as into Hunter Renfrow's average draft position in the 6th round of 12-team leagues. I'm down on Renfrow because Davante Adams is there. Simply, you don't trade for Davante Adams not to heavily utilize him. And he's one of the best receivers in the game and can beat double coverage. Renfrow was majorly productive in the red zone in 2021, ranking in the top 10 in targets with 25, but Adams will also be targeted a ton in that area, and that will take away from him. If Darren Waller has to miss any time, yes, that can help Renfrow, but long term, it looks a little murky, at least to me, and he has a lot more competition in Adams alone when it comes to targets. Final faller, Kenny Golladay. Is Golladay just not understanding Brian Daboll's offense? A lot of reports from the Giants beat reporters have talked about the troubles he's having on the field. He's dropped nearly 2 full rounds when it comes to his draft value since earlier in August. As someone who was paid handsomely last year, he did not live up to that paycheck, not getting in the end zone at all in 14 games of action. Kadarius Toney should be the prioritized receiver when healthy. They have Sterling Shepard back in the mix, and the Giants even spent a 2nd-round pick on Wan'Dale Robinson. A lot of competition, plus a healthier Saquon Barkley who should be active in the passing attack.